I landed in Berlin, June 5, 2025, the future, apparently. BR Airport was eerily calm, efficient, too efficient, the real test, public transport. I approached the ticket machine. It glared back, screen full of options. Single ticket, day ticket, zone A, B, C. Was there a zone Z for people who just give up? Finally, ticket in hand, probably the wrong one. I boarded a red train. I just hoped I was heading towards civilization, not a surprise accordion festival. I clutched my ticket, waiting for someone to call me out. No one did. Maybe I passed the test. Welcome to Germany. First challenge, survived. Barely. Jet lag hit me like a rogue Berlin cyclist. Silent, deadly, and probably wearing sensible shoes. My brain was still somewhere over the Atlantic. I needed coffee. Legendary Berlin coffee. I found a place exposed brick, uncomfortable stools, a barista who looked like he moonlighted as a DJ. The menu was minimalist, flat white, cortado, cafe crema. I just wanted a large cup of wake-up juice. Was that too much to ask? Ein Kaffee bitte? I tried, channeling casual confidence. The barista, let's call him Sven, raised a single judgmental eyebrow. He launched into rapid-fire German. I nodded, smiled, pointed at the biggest word, universal tourist strategy point, and pray. The coffee arrived, dainty, served in a glass for a sophisticated hamster. One sip, my eyeballs vibrated. I saw the meaning of life, but it was in German. This wasn't just coffee, it was a statement, a very expensive, very small, very powerful statement. I drank it slowly, trying to absorb the coolness by osmosis, or at least stay awake until lunch. The quest was complete, my wallet was lighter, and I was pretty sure I wouldn't sleep for a week. Success? I left the cafe, caffeine surging, heart pounding. Berlin coffee 1, me 0. I'd survived the first true test of Berlin hipsterdom. Next time maybe I'll just order tea, or bring my own bucket. But for now I was awake, very awake, ready to face whatever Berlin threw at me next, even if it was just another confusing ticket machine, or a philosophical barista. At least I'd passed the coffee initiation, barely. Onward. Next on the tourist checklist, the Brandenburg Gate. You can't go to Berlin and not see it. It's the law. I navigated the U-Bahn, S-Bahn's underground, equally confusing cousin. A few wrong turns, and I emerged into a sea of selfie sticks. There it was, big, stone, definitely a gate, impressive but mostly a backdrop for 1,000 awkward photos. I tried to take a picture. Human Tetris ensued. Every clear spot was instantly filled by a tour group or a guy dressed as a Roman soldier. I managed a crooked shot with half a pigeon in someone's backpack. Nailed it. I stood there gazing at the gate thinking profound thoughts like, I wonder if they have snacks nearby. It's seen emperors, protests, and now me, slightly bewildered and craving a pretzel. Brandenburg Gate, seen it, photobombed it, understood about 10% of its historical gravitas. Onwards to the next, must-see or you failed as a tourist spot. I checked it off my list, one more box ticked, still hungry, still confused, but definitely in Berlin. Next up, the Berlin Wall, or what's left of it, the East Side Gallery. I expected somber history. Instead, I got a riot of color and art. Some pieces were powerful, others, less so. It was like a giant open-air art class where everyone got an A for effort. The iconic images, Trabant busting through Brezhnev and Honecker's kiss, obligatory tourist photos. I tried to look contemplative, but it was also just a wall. A very famous wall, sure, but still concrete with a lot of paint. Some art was amazing, some looked like my nephew got loose with a spray can. I wondered, did artists sign up? Was it a free-for-all, bring your paint and your opinions? Then the selfie gauntlet. I tried to photograph a striking piece, but a couple walked right in front, mid-selfie. I waited, they posed. I considered photobombing, but my German wasn't up to explaining performance art. So I accepted my fate as a background blur in their vacation album. The wall historically significant, artistically overwhelming, and a masterclass in tourist traffic jams. I moved on, slightly more colorful and a lot more confused. Berlin's history, now with extra spray paint. I left with a camera full of photos and a head full of questions. Maybe that's the point. The wall endures in art and awkward selfies. On to the next adventure, still searching for snacks, still dodging tourists. But now with a new appreciation for concrete and graffiti, and the patience required for a good photo. Berlin, never boring, never predictable, always moving. Museum Island. 5 massive museums packed onto one small island. It's a cultural buffet, but you can only eat so much ancient pottery before you start to feel full and sleepy. I had to choose. Pergamon, Neue Museum, Alte Nationalgalerie. I picked pergament altar sounded dramatic. Inside huge reconstructed gates, temple facades. Suddenly I was in Babylon or Rome or somewhere equally old and dusty. Impressive, undeniably. You look at these massive structures and think, wow, they built this without power tools. I wandered through halls of statues, friezes, cuneiform tablets, pretending I understood the significance. After the third hall of broken pottery, my brain started to short-circuit. Is that Greek, Roman, Mesopotamian? A god or just a buff dude with a missing arm? Other tourists had the same glazed expression. Culture overload, Museum Island, a fantastic place to feel incredibly cultured and incredibly tired. I left feeling enriched, educated, and desperately in need of a non-historical sit-down, maybe a nap, or a pretzel, or both. Berlin, where history is heavy, and so are your eyelids. I survived the culture marathon, barely. Next time maybe just one museum, or a park bench. After all that history, I needed sustenance. Something that wasn't a tiny, judgmental coffee. I found a local cafe, no "we speak English" signs. The real Berlin experience, or a culinary disaster. The menu, all German. Serious culinary German. Words like Schweinebraten and Königsberger Klopse. I used the classic tourist technique point and hope. The waitress, stern but fair, took my order with a curt nod. No smiles. This was food business. I waited, excitement and terror mixing. What would I get? Delicate pastry, hearty stew, single lonely pickle? The plate arrived. Sausage, a very large sausage, with a mountain of sauerkraut and mustard that could strip paint. Not what I expected, but what did I expect? I pointed at a random word. This was German food roulette, and I'd landed on sausage. It was actually pretty good. In a very German, very sausagey way. I ate it all. Partly because I was starving, partly because I was afraid not to. Lesson learned, when in doubt in Germany, you'll probably get sausage. And it'll probably be fine. I left full, slightly braver, and ready for whatever Berlin served up next. Maybe dessert, or just a walk. Either way, I'd survive German food roulette, and live to tell the tale. Next time maybe I'll try the pastry, or just ask for a menu with pictures. But for now, sausage victory. Onward, to Kreuzberg, and more adventures. Hopefully, fewer surprises. After sausage, it was time for Kreuzberg, Berlin's alternative district, where cool goes to be cooler. The U-Bahn ride felt edgier, more band posters, fewer sensible haircuts. Kreuzberg was a riot of street art, some brilliant, some less so. The people, effortlessly cool. Piercings, tattoos, clothes from a chic dumpster. I felt distinctly mainstream. My shoes suddenly very, very sensible. I bought a beanie with Feierabend, sounded edgy, maybe it meant revolution. Later I googled it, quitting time. I was basically wearing a hat that said, I'm ready for a nap. Kreuzberg, cool, confusing, and clearly not my natural habitat, but I survived, with my new hat and a little more humility. Evening fell. Time to head back, if I could find my way. My phone, trusty guide all day, died. Just black screen. Suddenly, paper maps seemed like a great idea, if only I had one. In the fading light, every street looked the same. I aimed for Alexanderplatz. There's a special panic when you're lost in a foreign city and your phone is dead. You try to look calm, pretend you're just out for a stroll. Inside, your brain is screaming, we'll have to live here now, learn to make pretzels. Everyone looked purposeful. So, German, no time for lost tourists. It was almost peaceful, if you ignored the rising tide of, oh dear, I might sleep on a park bench tonight. Getting lost in Berlin isn't just a possibility but a rite of passage. I kept walking, hoping for a miracle, or just a sign in English. Pride swallowed. Time to ask for help. I spotted a group outside a neighborhood bar. They looked approachable, or at least unlikely to deport me for looking confused. I tried my best. Entschuldigung, wo ist Alexanderplatz? With hand gestures for big square, tall tower, many trams. To my surprise, they didn't laugh. One replied in perfect English, Alexanderplatz? You're quite a walk from here, my friend. My friend. Instant relief. He gave me clear directions. His friends chimed in, don't take that tram, it goes to the moon. Watch out for cyclists, they aim for tourists. Then, we're grabbing another beer. Join us? After the day I'd had? Yes, absolutely yes. Suddenly I was at a table with actual Berliners, drinking actual German beer, talking, laughing. I recounted my tourist misadventures. They found it hilarious, especially the Feierabend hat. Apparently it was like wearing a sign that said, ready for bedtime stories. We talked about Berlin, America, everything and nothing. It was easy, fun, unexpected. I came to Berlin to see sights. I didn't expect to end my day making new friends thanks to a dead phone and a terrible sense of direction. Maybe getting lost wasn't so bad after all. Maybe it was just Berlin's weird way of saying willkommen. I raised my glass. To getting lost, to new friends, to Berlin. Sometimes the best adventures aren't on the map, sometimes you just have to wander and let the city find you. Prost.